Good morning all, hope you're doing well. We were euphoric last week and then we went to complacency. So actually before I say about that, we were fear at the start of the week, then we went to euphoria and now we're back to complacency. So I think it's potentially, we're probably going to go back to euphoria again. And the reason for that is that I'll show you the indices and we've really pumped. The herd had sold quite strongly as we went into the weekend. It's worth noting that the herd have gone ever so slightly long. But we are at the big picture risk on. There's 17 people trying to short indices versus the one person buying indices. So it's still a lot of people, a lot of bears left. Although those bears are getting squeezed out and exterminated. So that's important to note, is that there were so many bears at minus 37. Absolutely ludicrous. They've had to leave the casino with horrendous losses. And inevitably what should happen is that we're going to see further continuation and bear extermination. Once they've given up, then we'll sell off quite strongly. Then we're going to look to buy the QDB guys. Okay, so when that happens, I'll obviously let you know. So VIX got crashed. You would have probably seen that in Discord, and you might have even seen it, in the news. I'm not sure, but it was a big deal. It's very much of a crash. It's ridiculous, really, and because of that, the indices flew much higher, and there wasn't much need for safe havens such as the dollar, Swiss franc and things like that. So we can talk about this sheet, but you can have a look at your leisure. And it was a little bit of a naughty week in so much that we had end of week, end of month, and obviously the herd sold very strongly, and because of that, it really sent things like a catalyst, like a firework almost, and it just exploded. And so the sheet, very, very good. But obviously, if something like that happens, where we've got like an end of month scenario, end of week scenario, and then the herd sell very aggressively, it's going to skew the sheet because it's not expecting that sort of reaction, and that sort of particular situation that we found ourselves in. It was a bit of a volatile cocktail, and it really exploded. I'll show you what I mean. And so there's DAX, for example. They'd sold, and so we saw that big pump. This is going into the close of the daily, weekly, monthly close. And this is what I mean. Like, we would have had the heads up to look for buys. However, perhaps you might have had a bias to sell a particular currency pair, and then it went amiss. It could have been just because of this ludicrous pump. And because if things are pumping, the dollar is going to soften. So you might have had like a nice setup on the dollar pair and it went to your stop loss. It's likely because the risk pumped. And that's what I mean about the sheet. It being very powerful, but it can't anticipate, that ludicrous, like a 10% dump on VIX. Like that's going to impact all currency pairs because all the FX trading is based on risk, and risk on or risk off, and it's going to move pending risk, and a big move like that is going to impact something like the Aussie, and it will certainly impact the USD. So it's a little bit of a tricky one, but hopefully you guys aren't doing too badly. It's been quite a frustrating week for the bot. It was basically one step forward, one step back, and one step forward, then one step back, and it's just like that all week. But it's okay. It's just one of those things. I think we just had like a bit of a turbulent week because of the end of month scenario, and also we've got anticipation and probably jitters ahead of the ECB and NFP as well, which is this week's risk events. Show you at Dow Jones. So I said that buy possible. They're going to sell it, and I said the certainties in life, death, taxes, and the herd selling into the weekend. Look, boom, absolutely ludicrous. So, like I said about the sheet, we can't envision that kind of thing. Like that would have played havoc on your dollar trade, and boom, up we go. And because of that, the dollar's going to weaken. There wouldn't be any real desire for a strong dollar if that's going to pump like that. And so obviously the dollar had to take a dump. It took a heavy decline. And the cross dollar pumped. And then let's look at the US 500. Wow. And there's the aggressive selling. So that's of note. See the aggressive selling on the S&P? Not so much, only a little bit on the DAX. And then let's look at gold. And I think maybe eye on that square potentially. It could be that the herd are looking at that level as well. So that might come into play. This is going to be a resistance. So we do go above that square. We're probably going to hit some resistance. But it depends if they sell it. If they sell it strongly, up we'll go, and then we'll break that box and we'll go higher. And the gold, don't forget the COT data was pointing towards more gains as well. So that's got a strong bias for more upside. And basically, there's not much to talk about on the robot. We're going to reduce the TP ever so slightly. And because of that, we're going to slightly increase the sizing. And see, the thing is with the robot, if I come here to the QDB testing, this kind of scenario, see this move here. So we'd had a sell and we came very close, but unfortunately our TP was just beyond the SLC. And I had to come and get the SLC. And up we came, and it resulted in the stop loss. So it's a 15 pip stop loss. So it's quite annoying. And we came down to the 200 MA. And of course, this is from Thursday, and we would have seen a reaction, and up we go. All right, so not much to talk about the robot. It's just one step forward, one step back, and it's going round like recycling, round and round in circles. So we need to do something where we're going to take profit a bit sooner, because if it's doing this, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's bonkers, isn't it? And see, that would have been fine. Had we reduced the TP, it would have coincided nicely, coincidentally, with the SLC. So, obviously the timings are good. Just the take profit part is the tricky part there. So that's what I'll get on to today. It's not going to take 2 minutes to do, and I'll do that after this video. So that's it, I guess. If you want to join us, you're more than welcome. Any likes and subscribes would be great, much appreciated. And that's it, I guess. We could probably talk about the sheet, but there's a lot to talk about. And don't forget the basket dashboard. So if the black line is pointing up, it's telling us it's a buy on the sentiment. If it's pointing down, it's a sell for us. Okay, so obviously because the sheet's been reset, we're neutral. So pending that this line points down on the yen, and we've got a poor score, you could be looking for yen sells. And then potentially, if this black line points up, we've got a good score, you could be looking for New Zealand dollar longs. And it's got the COT data there as well. So there's a lot to talk about the sheet, but it's going to be a long video. So, you're more than welcome to trial the sheet. But if you do, you need to select the QDB FX SSI affiliate tier or the premium tier. They're the same, but one's discounted for FX SSI subscribers. So I might as well wrap up now, and I'll speak to you guys tomorrow evening. And I think we're going to see more of the same, and we're going to be risk on, which is going to be a little bit boring, but it is what it is. And hopefully you guys are doing okay. But if you're having troubles, any difficulties, or any confusion about the sheet, let me know. I'll speak to you soon.